Good afternoon everybody. I was a bit late because I was in the congestion in the road today. Maybe it's the effect of early effect of Holi. So that's why I became late and maybe you waited for me. Sorry for that. Let's start. Thank you, Karthik. I think and other faculty members of the Department of IT for inviting me. So to introduce, or maybe some of you already know about it, as I have been told by Karthik about the software Prolog, which is more or less used for artificial intelligence syllabus. Okay, so we all know, actually in our college also, in most of the places, the subject artificial intelligence is in the 7th semester, and more or less we try to avoid this software called Prolog. It's a bit clumsy type of software, though it would have been better if, I feel that this software should have been taught in the earlier classes, because the type of language it covers, the type of programming it covers is a way bit different from the traditional high-end programming languages. So I will be try to be as easy as possible so that the topic can be explained. Prolog, actually the name, it's an acronym. Sorry. Prolog actually is an acronym for the topic programming using logic. So you take PRO from there and you take LOG from there, it became Prolog. What are we going to cover today? We will start with why, what, when Prolog. Actually, it's a very difficult type of thing, so let me make it clear that why it started, when it started. Then we will see some Prolog basics, and then we will understand knowledge base, which is the main crunch in the Prolog. Then Prolog list start. We will see how to work with modular files in Prolog. Some examples, as the case may be. And ultimately at the final session, I will tell you about the applicability or the uses of Prolog in different industries and research projects. How did we get here? Actually, Prolog emerged from research on logic, programming and linguistics. It's a product of actually research on logic, programming and linguistics. For more backgrounds, you can see this topic, you can see these papers, the early years of logic programming by Kowalski and birth of Prolog by Camilleri. What sort of language is this? It's a logic programming language. I think we all understand what you mean by logic. Yes? Anybody, what do you mean by logic? Anything which is based on certain facts which can be logically concluded is a logic. Okay, so we cannot, any vague things are not allowed in logic. Okay, it's not a correct definition, but then to understand it in this way, that anything which is based on facts, figures, and it's an imperative language, it's a declarative language. It's an object-oriented language, though it's not like that as the C++ or Java. It's in its own way object-oriented language because we can put it in modules. And so when we can put it in modules and then bring those modules inside a particular another module, then it becomes an object-oriented language. So not in the sense of we understand object-oriented programming language, which is C++ or Java. In any case, object-oriented programming concepts is different in C++, also in Java. So the topic object-oriented programming is like that. It's a high-level language, it's an interpreted language. Many people call Prolog not a compiler but an interpreter. It actually interprets what we say, what our mind say or what our intelligence say. So it's actually an interpreter. There is very little of compilation in the Prolog. It's a very small software. It's a very offloaded software. It's a software which can be included anywhere. More or less, many compilers support Prologs nowadays. What sort of things we can do it? We can do in Prolog. We can do pattern matching. It's very good for pattern matching. Again, let us take ourselves away from the pattern matching of actually image processing or that type of thing. It's a pattern matching. It's the patterns which are more or less in a linguistic way. It tries to match those patterns. If you can put your images in a linguistic way, it will work in Prolog. But don't assume, we will not say that we can match a face of a person with another face of a person as we do with pattern matching in image processing. Okay, it does pattern matching based on only linguistic terms. If you can put the objects you want to match in a linguistic way, linguistic means written in a language, written in the English language, logically written, then it's good for pattern matching in Prolog. It's very good for searching. It's very good for searching. There are a lot of searching techniques which are applied in Prolog very easily within small codes. We can write the VFS, DFS, A-star search, any complicated search we can write it here very easily. We can do very well knowledge representation. And what do you mean by knowledge? What do I mean by knowledge here? Raw knowledge which is present in the user's mind or the programmer's mind. The raw knowledge which is present in the programmer's mind, by which we do logic or by which we logically deduce something in our daily life. Okay, by which we logically deduce something in our daily life. Just as we can assume that, say, when I was coming here, I tried to assume that as the traffic is too heavy, it is a possibility that there will be congestion. So I can deduce it logically. I will be late for the seminar. Okay, so it is a way of knowledge representation which we do in our day-to-day life. Because ultimately, artificial intelligence is actually intelligence of human being. We try to emulate the intelligence of human being. We do not try to achieve above the human being. We are very happy in artificial intelligence to at least see how a human tries to find out or intelligently solve something. If we can emulate that, that is enough for artificial intelligence. So, in Prolog, we try to represent the knowledge in the way we understand the knowledge in our day-to-day life. But only thing is that our knowledge is having many gaps. We presume many things in our mind, which is not allowed. We have to have logical conclusions when you write something in Prolog. The language has to be logically correct. And more or less, Prolog only understands first order logic. Again, it is very, I think you all know what is first order logic. So it understands only first order logic. It is never good for repeated number crunching. Number crunching is not very good in Prolog. In fact, it is very bad in Prolog. It is not good for number crunching. So if you are planning for some computationally intrinsic applications, it's not good in Prolog.
So what is number crunching?
Number crunching means when we suppose you want to do some matrix multiplications, some additions. So that type of numbers which are adding, multiplying, dividing, that things are not possible in Prolog. It is not good for Prolog to do number crunching. In fact, it is very bad. It treats number in a very different way which generally we do not understand, and I have not put in my talk today because actually we will not use Prolog for that type of. Okay, so for number crunching, matrix multiplication and other things, C is very good. Okay, C is very good, Java is good, those are good languages. So don't come in Prolog if you want to do that type of things. What are we used to? What are we used to in our syllabus? Most modern programming languages involve changing the program state to general control flow. For example, if this is this, you change the state to printf. If this is not this, then change the state to goodbye. So we are changing the state in our program from hello to goodbye. So we are expressing a program so that we can do you want to say something? Okay. We are expressing a program in such a way so that we reach the goal. We are expressing our program in such a way so that we reach the goal. But logic programming is somewhat different. Logic programming instead is a constraint based. It's a constraint based. There is constraint on the amount of information available. You cannot go out from this information. It is not possible for you to go out from this information. It is a constraint based. You have to define the domain. This person, singer, writer, that type of thing. So you have to define your domain. Students, PhD students, master students, undergraduate students. So my domain becomes the students of undergraduate, postgraduate, PhD students. Okay. To be very specific, then you have to also include IT department students. So whatever I want to do, whatever programming I want to do, it has to be within this domain. Who is defining the domain? I am defining the domain. Who am I? I am a programmer. Who is using the Prolog to do something for me? We define facts. What are facts?
Existing data.
Known data. Data might be true or false.
True data.
Known
Truth.
For a particular domain. That truth might not be correct in another domain. So that's why first I started with the domain. So your truth or fact is true for that domain. Be more specific, your language, your program will be more good. I started with students, then I started with PG students, UG students, MTech students. Then I started with IT, then I put into it IT, so your domain decreased. Because in any case, some say we as a human being say he is good. But actually, factually or logically, that language is understood only by that sentence he is good, is understood by the person who is saying it. That goodness is a perspective to the person. For me, if somebody is good, for other person, that person may not be that much good, maybe little less good. Okay, so it is a fact. Fact means a statement which is true in a particular domain. It contains rules. Using these facts and rules, you generate some knowledge base. Using these facts and rules, we'll come to rules afterwards. Using these rules and facts, we generate a knowledge base. Why do we generate this knowledge base? Already we started the process. I started defining my knowledge. My knowledge is students. Which students? UG students, PG students, MTech students of IT department. So whatever knowledge I am having is belonging to IT department, UG, PG, MTech students. The student has studied computer science. In fact, maybe it's true, may not be true. Isn't it? The student has studied computer science in undergraduate course. Maybe true, may not be true. If it is not true, then I have to redefine my domain. The students of master degree has studied a computer science course. At least one computer science course he or she may have studied. Okay? So we try to modify ourselves in such a way that we declare the whole knowledge in a way so that I can find out some conclusions from them. I can reduce my goals from them. Okay, so this is called as logical programming. Again, logic means a thing which is true, a thing which is logically correct. So when I am logically correct, when the domain is clear, when the knowledge is clear. For impartial knowledge, the logic does not stand. For fuzzy knowledge, the logic does not stand. For vague knowledge, the logic does not stand. We start with the basics of prologue. From now onwards, I will enter in the prologue itself, in the language prologue. Prologue contains only three basic constructs. I think you understand constructs. What are constructs of C language? Yes? Huh? Keywords. Identifiers. Predefined functions, standard functions, user-defined functions, they are not constants. Any other thing in C language? Preprocessor directives. Okay. Why do you use this construct in C language? To write the program correctly in a way the compiler understands. Okay. So constructs means the domain which is available for us to write the programs. Is it? There are three constructs: facts, rules, and queries. Only three constructs are there in program. Facts: any property of a domain, of a person, of an object, or relationship between objects is a fact. Any property. That property may not be related to any object. Good is a property. It is not related to that class, to any objects. Good man, then it becomes related with the object. You can have relations. Father is good of that person. That is a relation put it into that good property, into that good fact of good. For example, only man is a property. It's a property. Woman is a property. When I say woman Rashi, then it becomes a property of that object. What is the object? Rashi. Next is relation. Lectures. A person who is lecturing. Lecture is a verb. He lectures. It has to be associated with something. We call a person who is standing by the road and saying something as a lecturer? No. It has to be two-way. A person and a course. Isn't it? Otherwise, Rasta Jariye bolde ki you are a lecturer bolde. Teacher bolde. Isn't it? So we have to be, there has to be relation between the verb. So what is the relation? A person and a subject. Okay. So again, lectures, Kaushik, CS703 is a facts. Facts which is having some relations. Between which objects? The name and the course. Now, these names or properties should begin with lowercase. This is the syntax of prologue. The names or properties should begin with a lowercase and should appear as a first term in the fact. You have the first term has to be a property or a fact. Okay, it should begin with a lowercase. You can have M small, E capital, no problem. Because in any way, nowadays when we write in WhatsApp or Facebook, we generally try to follow that nomenclature. In particular word, we try to capitalize certain letters, isn't it? So that is based on a particular point. So that is allowed. That is allowed. But only thing is that you have to start with small case. Objects in the fact has to be in a comma separated arguments. See here, comma separated arguments. The objects has to be in comma separated arguments if they are more than one. If they are not more than the one, then it's not. With parentheses on both sides, and it has to begin with, again with the lowercase. Objects has to be in comma separated arguments if they are more than one, within parentheses, and it has to start with lowercase letter, and a fact has to end with a period, full stop. So this is my syntax of a fact. So simple, isn't it? It's not like that. When we start learning first time, see, main, two brackets, two curly braces. Okay, so just writing a main and 4 lines. How many constructs? 4. Okay, but then those programming languages are more suited towards the thing which we generally do in our computer science. Okay, Prolog generally is not that much used in computer science background or your actually the research or your application. But yes, there are some places we will see on the end of our slides there where literally the Prolog is very useful for the computers. A collection of such facts is a knowledge base, not database. Okay, again, database, primary key, secondary key, tuples, normalization, very dangerous. Okay, so not like that. It's only a knowledge base. The same type of knowledge which we keep in our mind, isn't it? When we keep some knowledge in our mind, we don't follow the database rules. We follow the primary key, tuples, normalization. We don't follow that type of things. We very easily put up that knowledge in our brain. A Prolog programming is all about writing knowledge bases. So Prolog programming is the main branch of Prolog programming is generating this knowledge base. If your knowledge base is good, your answer will be good. Your aim will be good. Is it not the thing with human being? At least in this bad world. Isn't it? If you have knowledge, it will be there in the society. Otherwise, there is no stand. Isn't it? So, in that way, it is having some relation with human beings. How can we use the knowledge base? By posing queries. Again, the same thing which we do in our life. We gather more and more knowledges. At some point, maybe we will have some examinations. There will be queries in form of questions. Sometimes the answers given by the query are right. Sometimes it is wrong. If more answers are wrong, what we do? We go back and study. Isn't it? So, in the same way, after generating the knowledge base, we pose queries. We can ask Prolog, suppose if you consider this knowledge base, man within bracket Alex. I think we know what is meant by it. In fact, any person, any layman also knows, at least will have some idea that this is a representation of Alex is a man. Man, Ronnie, man, star, place, air, meter. Again, it becomes known to us if the constructs, if the identifiers are in our language, it becomes easier to understand what is the meaning. Okay, so there comes the beauty of Prolog, because ultimately the knowledge which you gather in your brain, you gather in your terms. Is it not? When you study in your terms, in the way you understand, you will be able to remember that. In smaller classes, BODMAS. Still we remember it. We have prepared it in that way. I think we all understand BODMAS. Okay. So we have remembered it like that, so that we will not follow it. We will never follow that. Okay. So in Prolog, you can write these constructs or facts in a way which is understood by the people or by the human being. Place air heater Alex party. Isn't it? So this is a knowledge base. When we have a knowledge base, if you pose a query, again the query has to be in form of certain facts or properties. You cannot write Alex is a man, it will not understand. Why? Because it only does, it's not a compiler, it's an interpreter. An interpreter only understands whatever is known to him or her. So you have to say it in the way it is understood to the interpreter. Man Alex. Yes. What is this? This is the command prompt of Prolog. Prolog is still a very command-oriented language. It is not good. It is not so much good-looking. Okay. I will go through some more slides, then I will show you how the Prolog software is. Maybe many of you are knowing it, because I presume more or less everybody is on master techniques. UG is also there. So okay, no problem. And when I pose this query, it answers in only two ways: yes or no. Only binary answers. It answers only two ways: yes or no. Some Prolog softwares will say true or false. Some software will say yes or false. Whatever it is, it depends upon the particular software. So it will either answer yes or no. In this case, what happens? It takes the query, go to the knowledge base, and letter to letter matches it. If it finds it, well. If it does not find it, it will say no. If it finds it, it will say yes. Okay. Some others? Okay. The last one will be no. Because it does not match. Another important thing in the construct of a Prolog is rules. See the knowledge base above. If we understand this is a fact. This is a fact. The last three are rules. Okay. For Prolog, rules is a information that is conditionally true of the situation of interest. For Prolog, rule is a particular information, a state of a particular information which is true for a particular situation of interest. For example, this is a rule. We understand listen to music, Rex. Rex listens music. Rex listens music. And the rule says Rex listens music, so he is happy. It is not true for it's not a global truth. It is a truth for this knowledge. It is not a global truth. It's a truth for this knowledge base. So that's why the last part, it is true for the situation for a particular interest situation. The knowledge we are gathering, we are using for that knowledge. For example, listen to music within a colon and a dash happy Rex. This stands for Rex listens to music if she is happy. Does not sound good. Does it sound good? At least by English, it does not sound good. The English of the line is not good. Is it good or not? It's good. It's good. Though it may not be good English language, but it's good. It meaning ki wajah se? What is the meaning of it? If Rex is happy, then only she listens. listens the music. Okay, if Rex is happy, then only she listens the music. So what we have done in prologue, the rules has to be written in a reverse way. Are you getting my point? The rules has to be written in a reverse way. That's why I did not write the line like that. If Rex is happy, then actually the line would have been good if I had written it like this. If Rex is happy, then she listens to music. But for prologue, it's the other way round. And of course, you all have studied discrete math, and you understand A implies B. Okay, if A is true, B is true. Okay, if that is the case, in prologue, it is in another way. It has to be written in reverse way. We have to write B when A is true. The logic stands same, but it has to be written in reverse way. Clear? This symbol, colon and dash, stands for if or is implied by. This is for if, colon and a dash. So, on the left side of the colon and dash, it has to be head of the rule. On the right side of it, it has to be body of the rule. This is the syntax of writing rules in prologue. How does prologue interpreter interpret this rule? It interprets it as if the body of the rule is true, then the head of the rule is true too. Prologue interprets in a way, if the body of the rule is true, then the head of it is also true. Okay. Or if prologue knows that the body is coming from the knowledge base, then the head is true. What it will do is that it will search for the body in the knowledge base. If it can prove the body, the head will be. Could I make you understand, or should I go again? Pardon? Okay. How does prologue interpret? It is good for writing it, but it has to interpret, the software has to interpret it. It interprets it in a different way, in somewhat different way. What it does is that it takes the body and from the knowledge base, it tries to match the body. Are you getting my point? It word by word, letter by letter, matches the body. If the match is correct, then it presumes that the body is true, and if the body is true, then the head is also true. Yeah? Actually, this comes from a very important thing in logic called as modus ponens. Okay. If A implies B, if X is true, then Y is true. X is true, therefore Y is true. It actually came from modus ponens. I think you may have studied modus ponens in your discrete math class, okay, or your logic class. If A implies B, if B is true, A is also true. So the rule followed by the interpretation of rule of prologue comes from the modus ponens. And what is modus ponens? Syllogism. Who invented syllogism? Aristotle, Socrates, Plato. These were the founders of syllogism. Isn't it? Huh? You remember the famous dialogue of Socrates? All men are mortal. Socrates is also mortal. Okay, so it came from there. You know the story behind it? Actually, in those days, Socrates belonged to those class of people who were the leaders of the society. They always used to tell others that we are leaders, we will never die. Okay, but Socrates, though he was a group of that, but he was a very realistic person. He proved them wrong by this logic. This was known to everyone. All humans are mortal. Socrates is a human. Socrates is a mortal. Okay. So this is called as syllogism, and these are founders of the syllogism. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. All these are students and teachers. Okay. Let's consider another example. Suppose we want to ask from the knowledge base whether Mia plays air guitar. I will write the query, plays air guitar Mia. What will the prologue do? Prologue will take the interpreter will take this query, go into the knowledge base, line by line, letter by letter, matching, not matching, not matching, not matching. Yes, it is matching. But this will be true only when its body is true. So again the prologue backtracks, recurses. It goes above with this fact, listens to music. No, not matching. It matches. So it will return yes. When it returns yes, the interpreter assumes as the body is true, it is also true. So that it is. Yeah. So this is the way how prologue interprets the rules. Another example, plays air guitar Rex. Let's see if it works. Not matching, not matching, matching. Plays air guitars Rex. But the body is listen to music Rex. Not matching, not matching. It matches. But matches with a, unfortunately matches with a rule. No issues. Prologue will still allow it. Why? Till it finds out its body is true or not. So body is happy Rex. Again goes up. Happy Rex. So what has happened? Prologue has deduced new fact. This is a new fact which has been deduced. This was not there. This is a new fact which has been deduced, isn't it? It is not written in the knowledge base also. It is an inferential fact, inference knowledge. I have inference from this. We also do it. Or bondhu bhalo, tar baba bhalo, etc. We try to do it in our day-to-day life, isn't it? Okay, we deduce the name back. Hopefully that person is also good. He lives in a place which is not good. Maybe he is not good. Again, we follow certain insights. Isn't it? We also do it in our day-to-day life. Prologue does the same thing. It's an inferred knowledge. Now, can we ask, does Mia plays guitar? Air guitar. Plays air guitar Mia. Again, it goes back. Not matching, not matching, not matching. It's matching. Isn't it? But here I find two different parts of the body. Again, that comma is an and for. So there are two different facts. What are the facts? Listen to music Mia and happy Mia. Both has to be, it's as it is and both has to be true. So it takes with the first body, goes up, matches. One, fine. Then takes another logic, another fact. It does not match. So it returns no. See here, in these 4 lines of code, I have been able to solve certain complex queries. Isn't it? Though I started by saying that whatever knowledge is there regarding the domain, you have to write everything. Whether it is coming out that by using these rules, we very well can infer new rules. And again I will point it out that as a human being, we always infer new rules in our life from the existing rules and facts known to us. Yeah. So this rule has two separated body parts. This is the way logical conjunction is expressed in prologue, and the syntax used is a comma or and. We can view a fact as a rule with an empty body. Ultimately, I will say that we can also view a fact as a rule with an empty body. isn't it? Happy Rex. We can say it is a fact. It's a fact, but we can also say it's a fact which does not have any body. If it does not have any body, then it will be true always. Isn't it? That's why it's a fact. The rule depends upon certain known facts. Rule is true when certain known facts are true. When the body is true. সবকটা rule কখন true হচ্ছে যখন body. See this rule. This rule is true if the body is true. Otherwise this rule will not be true. But for a fact, there is no body. If there is no body, then there is no question of body being true. So the rule is true. So the fact is true. Okay. Maybe I confused you. Isn't it? So let's avoid it. Fact is a fact, rule is a rule. And we do it in our life. আমরাও এটা বলি, এটা fact, বাড়িতে তর্ক করি বা বন্ধুদের সাথে তর্ক করি, এটা fact, you do not know about this. And your guardian says, this is rule, you have to follow the rule. It happens. Isn't it? So we don't confuse it. Fact is fact, rules is rules. Again, acknowledge this. Now, very peculiarly, consider the last two rules. Okay, the last two rules are having the head same, isn't it? So, if their head are same, then actually we wanted to interpret it like this: that Butch plays air guitar either if he is listening to music or if he is happy. Isn't it? Butch plays air guitar when he is happy or when he is listening to music. So writing two sentences with same head means we are putting certain either or clause. Okay, we can very well join it together by using a comma. Semicolon. Okay, we can join it together. These two rules are joined together with a semicolon and it becomes an either or. Okay, it becomes an either or. So what we have studied? And or. Because a rules contains and also or. Is it not? Certain rules has to be and. You will get this pocket money if you do this and this. Isn't it? If you, or it might be in some other case you have scored good marks in results in your exam, you will get pocket money if you do this or this. It becomes lowered down. The constants becomes lowered down because you have done something good. So if anything of both of them, you get the pocket. Isn't it? Okay. What are facts, rules, and queries built out of? We have seen three constructs: facts, rules, queries. Okay. But what are they built out of? They are built out of four kinds of simple terms in pronoun: atoms, numbers, variables, and complex terms or structures. Keep aside those facts. Now you have to understand how have you written these facts. Because you have put happy within bracket Rex, men. So who has allowed you to use these words? Where from these letters or words or types has come? These rules, facts or queries are constructed by using four simple terms: atoms, numbers, variables, complex terms. What are atoms? An atom is either a string of characters made up of uppercase letters, lowercase letters, digits, and underscore character that begins with a lowercase letter. What we have got it from here is that atom is a atom is a thing, is an object which starts with a lowercase letter. It can have in it underscores, it can have in it capital letter, but it's a string of characters with no space in behind. Okay? So atom is a string of characters with no space behind. So it is matching our happy, main, place, here, heater. All matches. Starts with the first letter. First letter is lowercase, no gaps. You can have underscores. You may view atoms as, in terms of C language, string constants. Isn't it? String constant, whose value does not change. MEN is not same as MAN. It is not same in C. It is will not be same in here. Numbers. Prolog. I told you Prolog is not good in numbers. So it generally understands numbers as a number itself. No integer, no float, nothing like that. Everything is a number for Prolog. It can be an integer number, it can be a float number. Everything is number for. Numbers are also constants. Variables. Variables in Prolog stores values. A string of uppercase letters, lowercase letters, digits and underscore character that starts either with an uppercase letter or with an underscore are called as variables in Prolog. Key variable होते पड़े. What is variable? Variable is a construct or identifier which stores something. आगे जुटो constants. This is the only one which can store something. What can be a valid variable name? A valid variable name has to start with an uppercase. Here, see here, with uppercase letter. This is many letters starting with the uppercase letter. Or it should start with an underscore character. এছাড়া valid variable name আর কিছু হতে পারে না. Other than this, there cannot be any variable, any name which is any valid variable name. What can it store? It can store anything. It can store numbers. It can store strings. So there is no data type of variable. It is just a variable that can store numbers, that can store strings. And this underscore is a special variable which is called as anonymous variable. When we will use it, we will use it when we don't require to declare variable or we don't require to use the particular variable in the lower parts of the program. যদি কোনো variable just value store করার জন্য temporary variable type, this is say we can say it as a temporary variable. As the program stops, that variable also goes. Okay, that variable also goes. But otherwise, the other variables are permanent variables. So that's why this variable starting with underscore, we call it in terms of Prolog as anonymous. Complex terms, also called as structures. Complex terms are built out of a functor. Another name of function. We call functor in C also, but we know that as a function more conveniently than functor. Okay, so that's a functor. A functor is a function name. A complex term has to be built out of a functor, a function name, followed by a sequence of arguments. The arguments are put in ordinary parentheses, first brackets, separated by commas and placed after functor. So you have a functor, function name, first brackets, within it the arguments. The functor has to be directly followed by parentheses without any space, no space. If you put between the functor and the first bracket space, it will be wrong. It will be syntactically incorrect. Okay? So functor, the complex term has to be a functor followed by a first bracket, no space. The functor must be an atom, no variables. Function name has to be an atom, not variables. But logically it's also true. If the function name itself is a variable, then the function name is not a permanent name. If it's not a permanent name, then how will you use it in the program afterwards? Isn't it? But arguments can be any kind of term. But within the functor, within the brackets, arguments can be atom, numbers, or variables. The number of arguments that a complex term has is called as arity. Arity means how many arguments it has. Okay. For example, Omen Mia is a complex term of arity 1. It has 1 argument. So in any case, if you call this function with 2 arguments, it will give you error. Yeah? So it is a function of 1 argument. Complex term of 1 argument. Love's Vincent Bia is a complex term of arity 2. Here it is 2 terms. Okay. These are also called as structures. Complex terms of the form like this. Functors have to be atoms. Arguments can be any kind of prolog terms. These are also functors. These are also complex terms. See, this is a very complex term. Start with a functor, bracket, atom, again a functor. So if this is a functor, it has to be followed by a bracket, again a functor. Okay, it's a very complex term. But it is clear for prolog because prolog has made the differentiation previously. Functor can be a valid complex term has to be a functor followed by first bracket. Hence there. It can contain anything. Objects, atoms, variables, again a function. So no issues. So if you include again a functor inside it, no problem for the prolog. It can very well differentiate. Any questions till now? Then we will go to the next part. These are basic things. Yes.
So the AND object, is there any precedence order?
The precedence order has to be decided by you. How the prolog understands? Prolog goes from left to right. So whatever order you have to set, you have to put the first one first and the second. But if the first one fails, it will not go to the second. For AND. For all it will go, but for AND it will not go and it will stop there. Any questions? It can be simple questions, don't speak. Yes.
You said that about the anonymous variables. It starts with underscore or it's just an underscore?
It can be just an underscore, but again there can be number of anonymous variables in your program.
So we have to follow it by something.
So an underscore followed by a atom. Again, the prolog interpreter itself gives or uses some anonymous variables if it requires. Okay, it may require while interpreting that, say, because it is inferring rules. When it is inferring rules, something are there which is hidden, which is actually not stored, but then it has to be used. So prolog interpreter itself assigns the anonymous variables for those, because it understands that it will be used only during the program, not afterwards.
The other variable can be used after the program.
Yes.
Other variables can be used after the program.
Yes, because I just told you at the beginning that it is an object-oriented program. So you can have 2 files having 2 codes and a main file. You can use it later. Okay, so you compile first file, then second file, then call it, then use it in this first file. So it is present after the program. It's coming out of the program. Okay? Yes.
So when we declare rules, the body part must be, if it's in the knowledge base, it must be before the rule or it can be after the rule.
When we are declaring rules,
Suppose listens to music, Mia, happy. text. So the happy meal. The happy meal should be declared before that rule, or it can be declared anywhere.
If you do not declare the rule before, then it will go till down. In any case, Prolog will search it. But the problem is that it is unnecessarily moving around. Okay, and it is good as in C language to declare variables at the top, so that you don't forget. At the object-oriented programming, we generally forget for declaring the variables, and invariably there is it. Okay, so it's not a problem for Prolog, but then if you don't do it, then it will go down. Yes.
So you said that we reduce new facts. So if B is a new fact we have reduced, and then a rule is there, A is B is implied by A, then again it will traverse to find if B is true or not, or it will consider it as a fact already.
I could not understand your query. You are, suppose I have reduced a new fact, a new fact or rule.
A new fact, you have reduced B is a new fact from the rules,
Okay.
and then there is a new rule, A that
Which uses that one.
which uses that one.
So
it will again
for proving it will again go back.
again go back and check if B is
Yes,
or
yes,
if it
yes.
considered B.
No. It will again go back. Because in any way, in your example also, if some rule has been, if some fact has been traversed before, for some other rule it is traversed again. Isn't it? So the notion is that, but actually Prolog has not made it cumbersome. It has made it simple. Simple things. Prove it, go ahead. If you want to prove it, start from it. Nothing, I will not remember it.
So those facts can be stored in
Another file.
I mean, that fact it has calculated reached to a fact. Can it be stored in the knowledge base? So that
If you want to permanently store it, then you have to assign it to a variable.
very well.
But then, yes, you can.
But you say first.
It will save time. Why? Because ultimately it will be again referred for if a new rule comes. Isn't it? Ultimately it will be again referred. So it will not save time. Only thing is that, yes, you may say that suppose in a program, for some cases you have got an inferred a rule, and if that case is true, then the program deviates to another place, then it is used. You are getting my point. For a particular case, you will deduce a new rule. For other cases, you will not deduce the new rule. So for that particular case, when you have deduced the new rule, it can be used for that case. Yes, you understand the case of C. Okay, for that case. So then it's good for you to store. Otherwise, invariably Prolog itself stores. Okay. In any case, who has given these rules? You. So if you have forgotten the